How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. We actually just got a lot of good news over the last day, and I'm not saying this because I'm telling you that the bottom is in for Bitcoin or it's not in for Bitcoin. I'm just looking at the news, and it's actually pretty bullish stuff. So I want to talk about that. I'll also talk to you about my number one stock, the biggest holding that I have in my portfolio for individual holdings, up once again. Google crushing it today, up another 2.7% after being up 6% yesterday. We'll talk about that as well. Why balancing out with some equities might be good. And we have a lot of other stuff to cover as well. Some crypto related news, some Bitcoin related news. If you don't mind, hit subscribe. Apparently JP Morgan Chase might be trying to destroy crypto. We'll talk about that. But hit subscribe. You can also join the Telegram underneath the video. I just saw another channel that was getting banned from YouTube. So if that happens to me, I'll still be posting over on the Telegram, so check that out. It's completely free. It's super easy to sign up if you don't already have a Telegram. And if you want to start trading crypto, there's a link to BYDeFi underneath the video. We're doing a deposit campaign right now where you can deposit and get up to $2,000 in bonuses. If you deposit $100, you get $50 bonus, and then you get up all the way up to $2,000. We're going to run another promotion like this. I was just talking to the guy that I work with over at BYDeFi, and we're going to run another campaign where you can get up to $10,000 of some crypto. Not sure if we're going to do Bitcoin or USDT. Let me know what you would rather have down below in the comment section. I believe they can automatically deposit USDT into the account. I think you might have to claim Bitcoin though. So check that out underneath the video. In the link tree, if you want to sign up now, you might as well. This is the best time to do it because you can get the deposit bonus. Just make sure you actually deposit. And then we'll run this campaign, and this is for anyone that's ever signed up. So get the deposit bonus now and then get ready, start trading so you're comfortable on the platform. And then you'll be entered, or you'll start being able to collect some of these rewards. Now let's run the disclaimer real fast. Just a reminder, this is not financial advice. This is not legal advice. Do your own research. I'm never going to reach out to you either in the comment section or through any other means to try to get you to invest in something that I'm investing in or to send me crypto. Some links underneath the video are affiliate links. I may earn a commission, but this is at no extra cost to you. Of course, do your own due diligence. All right, Bitcoin sitting around 86.5. The traditional markets as well, kind of wishy-washy today. The Nasdaq's actually down 0.72%. The S&P 500 down 0.22%. Something really weird happened, actually. You can see we opened up green on VOO, or on the S&P 500, and all of a sudden, just in like 10 minutes, we fell down 0.7%, which is actually fairly quick, which we'll talk about why that might have happened here in a minute. But yeah, very quick moves. Bitcoin sitting right around 86,500. You can see over the last 4 or 5 days since we bottomed, we've been setting some higher lows and higher highs. But when we zoom out before this crash, we still haven't gone back to those levels, right? I would really like to see a push above 89,000, 90,000, right, in that region, because that's where we saw some previous support, and we just saw resistance there yesterday. So I would like to see that flip back into support instead of having us rejected off this previous support level, flipping support into resistance, right? I don't want to see that. I want to see us maybe set a higher low here once again at 86,000, then make another big push. That would be good. That would be bullish. A lot more liquidations on the short side than the long side, 255 million versus 140 million over the last 24 hours. Kind of a crazy rumor here. We'll talk about it in a minute, but let's actually go through some economic news, because we did have some big economic news coming out today. First of all, yesterday we had Trump talking with Xi. That kind of set off some bullish vibes yesterday with the Nasdaq up 2.5%. And more good news has come out. Ukraine has agreed to the full terms of President Trump's peace plan to end the war with Russia, per ABC News. Now, this is good if this actually goes through. I want to see the war actually finish, right? I want it to be done before I celebrate and woohoo, right? But this seems positive, right? It's better than escalation at this point. But we've heard this before that, one side or both sides have fundamentally agreed to peace talks, but then it's fallen through. So I want to actually see this happen. But this is bullish for the markets because the markets want certainty. They don't want war. We also got PPI today. Now, this is September PPI, not October PPI because of the shutdown. But the core PPI came in at 2.6% versus the 2.7% estimate. So it came in at 0.1% versus 0.2% for the month. And then the year over year came in at 2.7% versus the 2.7% estimate just for headline PPI. So this is all really good. This is the producer price index, which kind of is a leading indicator as opposed to a lagging indicator because it's what producers pay. So core slightly lower than expected. Headline came in at expectations. This is bullish for the chances of a rate cut. So now there's a 81% probability that we'll see a rate cut at the next meeting versus just last week it was like 50-50. And at one point it was like a pretty good chance that we wouldn't see a rate cut. It was like 70-30 that we would not see one. So the odds have totally flipped, right? That's bullish for markets. That's why we're seeing a bit of a rally yesterday, or why we did see a rally yesterday. Now, VOO is still down today, right? It's kind of just back and forth right now. We're down 0.05%. The NASDAQ's down a little bit. Part of the reason for that is actually because of NVIDIA, which I guess we can get into that in a second. We also have some interesting consumer confidence numbers. The consumer confidence number for November came in at 88.7 versus the expectation of 93.3, and last it was 95.5. So what exactly is the U.S. confidence number, consumer confidence? It's a monthly report from organizations that measure how optimistic or pessimistic the consumers are about the economy. So last month, they were more optimistic than this month. So this is bad overall. Maybe consumers, right, don't feel good about the labor market or about prices or something. But this means that there's a more likely chance that we're going to see rate cuts in the future, which could actually make the market feel better. It's kind of one of those good news is bad news, or bad news is good news situations. We'll get to the Bitcoin specific stuff in a second. We could see, the reason we could be seeing just VOO down even with some of this good news, and QQQ down a little bit too. This could change very quickly, to be clear, because we got the good news, but could be due to NVIDIA being down so much, right? It's down 6% here today. Why is that, right? When they reported really good earnings. Well, there's some news about Google, maybe taking some business from them. And you can see Google today up basically 3%. This is after a 6% move yesterday. Over the last week, it's up 14%. Last month, it's up 21%. Over the last 6 months, up 89%. Over the last year, up 94%. Since the bottom of the tariff drama, it's up 121%. So this is actually my largest individual stock holding. They keep on crushing it. But what was good news for Google could be considered bad news for NVIDIA. Yesterday, it came out that Meta might be using Google's TPUs. All right, so instead of using the GPUs from NVIDIA, they might be using Google's TPUs. Now, keep in mind, they're still going to be using NVIDIA's chips as well, right? But they are talking about using Google's as well. So Google came out that they were training on their TPUs for their new Gemini, and it blew people away. It beat every model. So that was really bullish, and now people could be thinking, well, Google, if they can produce enough of these chips, they might be digging into NVIDIA's market share a bit, right? And NVIDIA probably will lose market share over time to AMD, to Google, that kind of thing. But the question is, how much does the overall market grow, right? And it's not like NVIDIA is actually priced at a huge multiple. Let's look at NVIDIA after this recent downturn. Next 12 months PE of 25. It's a 42 based on the past year, but they're growing quickly still. Now, if they slow down, I guess the question is, how much do they slow down, right? Do they actually go negative at some point? We'll have to see, but Google continues to move up. It's up to a 31 next 12 months PE after this historic run. I still think it makes sense to buy other companies or to buy stocks and not just crypto. Even though Bitcoin will probably will appreciate faster and is more volatile. So you could buy Bitcoin when it's down $40,000 from its high, like 33% from its high, like you can right now. And you can't do that with a lot of equities. But I think it kind of balances out a portfolio, and mentally it's nice to have some equities that are maybe a little bit more tangible and less volatile. But you can debate that with me in the comment section, I guess. So that could, NVIDIA being down, the largest equity in the stock market, right? And a lot of indices being down could be the reason that VOO and the NASDAQ are down. Now look at this Bitcoin news. Crash JPM by MSTR in Bitcoin. Max Kaiser, right? Maybe the most bullish, maybe the most hyperbolic Bitcoin investor out there. He does say, this is unconfirmed, first of all right? JP Morgan appears to have an existentially threatening short position on MSTR that could potentially bankrupt JPM if MSTR trades 50% higher above Friday's close. GameStop vibes intensify. Okay. I don't know what to think of this. I think this is probably untrue. I guess JP Morgan could be hedging their Bitcoin positions with an MSTR short position, but it seems like that would be pretty risky. I don't think MSTR is going to go up 50% like in the next few days or anything like that, unless Bitcoin goes up a huge amount. Like if Bitcoin goes back up to 100,000, right? I could see MSTR maybe moving 30, 40, 50%. So I guess, a 15, 20% move on Bitcoin maybe brings MSTR up 40, 50%. But right now, I think we need kind of a sustained rally for Bitcoin for people to want to go into these more risky equities. Because there will be people that are trying to deleverage, or maybe not deleverage, but just try to trim positions in general. So they might use it as exit liquidity. So they might be, we might have a little bit of momentum and strategy, but people are maybe sitting on still, 500% profit or 100% profit. And they're like, the bear market could be coming. I'm going to take my chips off the table with these riskier bets like MSTR. Now, MSTR from the top down 62%. Bitcoin's down 33%, right? Something like that. So definitely riskier to go with these Bitcoin treasury companies or, derivatives of Bitcoin, but they can also perform better. So I'll be watching MSTR. I haven't bought MSTR since the last bear market, and that was when it was under 1 MNAV. So I would be interested in doing that again, knowing that's a bit riskier, but also that it could pay off a lot better if we see some explosion in the price of Bitcoin. Now, one thing that I thought was interesting, I heard Anthony Pompliano say this on CNBC. People want to know like how deep this bear market could get and how long it could take, that kind of thing. That's the big question, right? That's the $1 billion question. If you knew that, you could make billions of dollars real quick. The volatility of Bitcoin has gone way down this cycle. Like it just hasn't been that volatile on a day-to-day basis. There have been a couple days that have been volatile, but overall, nothing compared to what we've seen in the past. So if Bitcoin's volatility has decreased by 50%, it might make sense that the drawdowns decrease by 50%. So instead of a 70, 80% drawdown, maybe we see a 35 or 40% drawdown. Now, I think that might be a little bit too optimistic because we saw a 36% drawdown and equities were down like 5%. So if we had that mixed with the NASDAQ and VOO being down 15, 20%, which could definitely happen. I mean, that happens every couple of years, like probably every other year, we see a 15, 20% drop. So if that was paired with Bitcoin, like timing out to be in a bear market, I think we would see a further drawdown, but maybe 50, 60%, maybe not 75% like we've seen in the past, or 77%. But I don't know, right? I can't see the future. Let me know your thoughts on this underneath the video. I do appreciate, again, if you do want to trade crypto, I think now's a great time to be trading crypto. Like, think about this. If you're long Bitcoin, let's say 3x, and even if you time it at a bad time, right? Let's say you got in at 90,000, which is higher than we are right now. But let's say you finally long Bitcoin at 90,000, we break above this maybe prior resistance level, and we go up. Your upside obviously is 3x whatever it would be just buying Bitcoin spot, but your downside is at $60,000 you'd be liquidated, maybe a little bit above 60,000 because of like some small fees, right? But that's still 55% down from the all-time high, something like that. So you actually have a lot of cushion, and you'd have a 33% cushion from that $90,000 mark, which is still like, what, 30% down from the all-time high, or 25%, something like that. So you would still have a lot of cushion. And if you got, what I'm going to do, if I get liquidated, right, I'm just going to open up another position. So then if you opened up a position at 60,000, we would have to fall all the way down to 40,000, which is past so many support levels, right? Well below the 200-week moving average, which is typically where we bottom. The 200-week, somewhere around 55 to 60,000, might be 60 to 70,000 next year. That's typically the bottom. Sometimes we go slightly below it. Last cycle we did. So that gives you so much cushion, right? I've been able to make life-changing amounts of money and take profits this bull run through leverage trading. If you want to try it, or if you want to do it on BYDeFi, I really like BYDeFi because we have someone that works at BYDeFi that's in our Telegram. So if you have a question, concern, or like a deposit doesn't show up at the time that you think it's going to show up, you can actually reach out through the Telegram. And we run all these extra promotions, which I haven't seen other exchanges do, right? And nothing this good that gives away this amount of money. So if you want to check this out, it's in the link tree underneath the video. Thank you so much. There are also links to BTCC, BitUnex, Weeks, Blowfin. These are other exchanges too that I like, but you can check those out in the link tree as well. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next one.